Hey there, all you fantastic people. I hope your day has been absolutely wonderful. We're back with another thrilling episode of What If Naruto Was the Reborn Ancients. Make sure to show some appreciation to the talented author behind this fanfiction. You'll find the link waiting for you down in the description. Kushina hides a secret from everyone, and then makes sure her son will not face the burden he is about to carry alone. When she's done, the world shall fear her son. If you're loving this mind-bending what if, don't hold back. Drop a comment and share your thoughts. And while you're at it, don't miss out on exploring the other captivating what ifs available on this channel. Alright, without further ado, let's kick off this video and dive into this exciting journey. Over the next week, Hinata began moving up from the lower half of class toward the front of the class in ranking. Naruto himself was staying about middle of the class, and when Hinata asked why he was hiding, he said, "A ninja does not show how good he actually is." Hinata after that began to move back a little toward the middle of class and stayed about where Naruto was. Mizuki was not having a good week. On Monday, the desk next to Naruto fell and broke his toe as it was under the desk. On Tuesday, he slipped on some urine from Akamaru, who started to laugh for some reason and pissed in the floor, and Mizuki broke his arm trying to catch his fall. On Wednesday, the flagpole fell on him, breaking his shoulder bone. On Thursday, he was still in the hospital, and on Friday, when he got out, his girlfriend broke up with him after she saw him flirting with some blonde-haired girl she never seen before, even though he was still in the hospital when this happened. When Saturday rolled around, Tenten came over to spar with Naruto, and Hinata and Kurinai came by, but Anko was away on a mission. Sunday was just basic with learning exercise number 9. Hinata would not get to number 10 until she could do the waterfall exercise in the time limit. Then Monday popped up, and today Sasuke was back after his suspension. When Naruto and Hinata arrived, Sasuke ignored them and Naruto said, "Weird." Hinata nods and they both sat down. As the rest of the kids come in, Sakura, Ino and a few other fangirls all started trying to ask Sasuke out and other things, and Naruto watched them and Hinata asked, "What are you thinking, Naruto?" Naruto asked, "If Sasuke gay, and why isn't ANBU hinged into a female student?" Hinata blinked and asked. "What?" Naruto said. "The second brown hair girl on the left of Sasuke in the middle. She's a he and has an ANBU mask on." Hinata activated her bloodline and gasped and asked, "Why he here?" Naruto frowned and said, "I guess the Hokage wants to keep an eye on Sasuke for now and make sure he doesn't try to kill anyone else." Hinata nods and she didn't realize it, but she scooted closer to Naruto and grabbed his hand, and Naruto blinked and glanced at her as she watched them and thought, "So some of the old you is still there. I guess until you can bury him, he will always be a bad memory for you, but he still serves a purpose." Besides that, nothing of importance happened. Kiba, Shikamaru, Choji, Naruto and Hinata spent lunch together every day and stayed good friends, but the three boys never got closer than that. Naruto and Shikamaru played games, Choji ate, Hinata watched and Kiba joked. It was stress relief to relieve boredom mostly. In the morning before school, Hinata did the first 2 exercises and Naruto had changed the dodge exercise to dodge and attack now, then school. Then after school they would go back and train until around 7, when they tear and relaxed until they went to sleep or meditated. Saturday, Tenten, Kurinai, and Anko all came over, but Tenten only stayed for an hour since she still had work to do. Hinata had improved greatly during this time and Naruto was happy with her improvement. Today was the day of reckoning though. Today was the 2-month date he had agreed on, and it was also Hinata's 12th birthday. Naruto smiled as he saw her working out, and he saw that the people he had asked to come had arrived, so he went toward the gate and said, "Thank you all for coming today." As he opened the gate, Hiyashi Hyuga, Hanabi Hyuga, Kurinai and Anko all arrived, and Naruto said, "Please follow me," as he led them inside. Hinata was just finishing the dodge and attack exercise, and Naruto waved his hand and a block moved and the area started to change, and Naruto said, "Hinata, that's all for now. I have an announcement I would like for you to hear." Hinata walked over shocked to see who was there, and Naruto said, "In case you have not realized it, Hinata, it has been exactly 2 months since you first came here. In that 2 months you have improved greatly in not just physical strength but mental and spiritual as well. You have become the diamond I knew you could. Today is also your birthday. I figured it's kind of fitting that today would be the day you would make the most important choice of your life. I had intended to give you a present marking your accomplishments here, but someone stole them from the shop. They were being customized, so I have decided to do something else." As he held his hand above his head and as several tiles in the roof began to move, shocking everyone, and several puffs of smoke went off around the room, and when it was done there were 20 rows of racks all throughout the hall, and Naruto pulled out his lightsaber and ignited it and said, "Hinata, you have seen me use this weapon on several occasions. I have told you the history of these weapons and how important they are to me and my future clan. I have decided that even if you do not join my clan that you still earn the right to at least one of these weapons." Shocking everyone, Naruto said, "Now Hinata, on each of these shelves are the pieces that make up the lightsabers. There are millions of possibilities here, and if you notice there is a single pillar alone at the end of the shelf that goes 40 feet into the air. I want you to go down each row and don't choose the ones you think are nice or good or whatever. I want you to feel which pieces are calling you. I don't care if it's a single, double or two of them. Search out the pieces for your lightsaber and then climb the pillar, and on top of it you will find the instruction on how to combine them properly. Follow the directions, and then when you are done activate them for all of us to see. That is my birthday present and my gift, showing that in my eyes you are now an adult, free to make any choice you wish." Hinata was shocked and Hiashi asked, "What are you playing at, Naruto?" Naruto waited until Hinata was searching the rows and he said, "She knows the truth, Hiashi. She knows about how in order to stop Sasuke feud with the Hyuga clan I paid your clan a chest of rubies and how I was the one who framed her so you could kick her out. She's known since the second day here. I asked her to give me the 2 months that we agreed on, Hiashi, to let her learn to become stronger for herself so she can make her own decision. Not the ones her clan makes for her or the ones I make for her, but what will make her happy. I have given her every tool that I could while she was here. I have given her support, guidance, inspiration, compassion, understanding, and kindness. I have showed her that just because she was a woman she was not weak. I showed her that just because others say things about her does not make them true. I have done nothing to her but opened her eyes to the world and allowed the real Hinata that has hidden herself away her entire life to come out of hiding. Now today is the day she will make her choice. She will either return to the Hyuga clan as a proud Hyuga, stay here with me with the knowledge of my plans for the future and the way I am. She can take Kurenai offer to move in with her and become like a daughter to her, or she can tell us all to go screw ourselves and start her own life. You free now, Kurenai, so you can hit me if you wish. It won't matter because it's all her choice now." As he looked back at the red-eyed woman who has been trying to open her mouth as well as move to punch Naruto after hearing him say it was his fault she was kicked out, and she heard it all and asked, barely holding her temper, "Why?" Naruto saw Hinata had done finished and was standing on the pillar and said, "Look at her now and you will understand. Before all this went down she was a lump of coal in every sense of the word. She was hidden in the ground, alone in her own darkness, feeling lots of pressure from everywhere, but she was lacking the spark of heat in her life that would turn her into what she is now. A diamond that just needs to be refined, and she will be ready for whatever the world throws at her." Kurenai looked at Hinata, who slipped the pieces together, and she said, "I'm finished," Naruto said. "Good, now be careful and activated Hinata and show everyone your light." Hinata nods and she activated the lightsaber, and Naruto's eyes went wide as Hinata had a double-bladed lightsaber with green blades, and he smiled and said, "Well done, Lady Hinata, well done. Now come join us so we can celebrate your birthday." As several Kagebunshin walked out with tables, food, and drinks, Naruto raised his hand and more tiles moved in the roof and all the rows of lightsaber parts went up in smoke, and Anko asked, "Aren't you afraid someone might find those and steal them?" Naruto said, "Nope. I have set up decoy bricks in the ceiling, and if any one of the parts is not from the right shelf when they go to activate it, the lightsaber will explode and kill everyone within 10 feet of it." Hiashi asked, "How do you have so many gems?" Naruto smirked and said, "Let's just say you would never believe what is buried under this village or this temple." Hiashi narrowed his eyes and said, "So there's more to it underground," Naruto said. "Yeep thought I can't take credit for them. My parents originally built that part as a civilian shelter, but because of the way the villagers treated me as a child, my mother, and I say the villagers can go fuck themselves. I will defend Konoha because it's my home and the home my father gave his life for, and for the ones who see me as me. Those like Mizuki and the ones who don't just get off lucky." Hinata frowned at this but remained quiet as she ate. The rest of the lunch was mostly a few comments here and there. Hanabi saying happy birthday to her sister, and then Naruto said, "Well, Hinata, do you have that scroll?" Hinata nods and pulls out the scroll and lighter, and Naruto said, "That scroll contains the contract I made with Hinata. It's basically the same one I made with the Hyuga clan with a few minor changes like no jewels and things like that. She's allowed to make her own decisions, so do what is best for you, not for me, not for Kurenai, and not for your family. Hinata closed her eyes and said, "Can I speak to my father and sister a few minutes alone before I decide?" Naruto shrugged his shoulders and said, "It's your decision, Hinata. You can do whatever you want." As he turned and walked away, Hiashi watched as Kurenai and Anko followed after Naruto, and Hinata looked at them and said, "Did you know about this, Hanabi? I mean about my being kicked out of the clan alive." Hanabi looked extremely confused, and Hiashi said, "No. No one besides myself, the council, and Naruto knew of this. She only knew what everyone else knew." Hinata nods and looked at her father with a heavy glare and asked, "Why? Why did you agree to it?" Hiashi sighed and said, "I did what was best for the clan. Naruto explained how Sasuke attacks on everyone, especially you made it look like it was the rivalry between the Hyuga clan and the Uchiha clan. We did it be." Hinata slapped him across the face and screamed, "I don't want to know why Hiashi Hyuga, head of the Hyuga clan, did it, that I know. I want to know why my father agreed to it." Hiashi was shocked and Hanabi was gaping, and he said, Hinata asked. "You what?" Hiashi regained his composure and said, "After your attack and we were at the hospital after Sasuke sent his threat that if I agreed with Naruto idea then you and your sister would finally be safe. I knew no matter what I did that one of you would have suffered in the branch house. That is why I made you feel weak and inferior after your mother's death, so that way there was a chance that the current council would pass away while we tried to determine who should be the heir," Hinata asked. "And if I returned to the Hyuga clan, what would happen to Hanabi and I?" Hiashi said. "Even though you have gotten stronger, the fact that you now use non-traditional Hyuga techniques means you would be branded with the seal." Hinata frowned and Hanabi looked at her sister, and Hinata said, "May I speak with my sister alone a moment?" Hiashi nods and walked away, and Hinata said, "Hanabi, you understand what is going on here, right?" Hanabi said, "A little." Hinata looked at her sister and had a flashback of when she first came here, and Naruto words rang in her head, and she said, "I want you to do something for me, sister. I am going to become someone you are going to be proud of. I want you to watch me, and when you become the head of the Hyuga clan, I want you to use me as your guide and change the Hyuga clan so that way our family will no longer suffer because of the seal and what others think. I may be mad about the fact Naruto got me kicked out of my family, but he freed me from slavery. I owe him, and I will stand by his side. He is a great person. Watch me, sister, and become a diamond like me." As she hugged her sister, and a tear fell from her eyes, Hanabi was confused but understood enough of it, and said, "I will, sister." Hinata nods and stood back up and said, "Come, sister, I have an announcement to make." As she walked toward where the three groups were waiting, when they all got back together, Hinata said, "I have decided that I am going to stay here with Naruto." Naruto looked at her and asked, "Are you sure? I mean, you know that I will never be able to marry you, and someday I will want you to become the mother of my children. Are you sure about this? I don't want you to feel you owe me or anything. I want it to be your choice," Hinata said. "I know, but I realize that no matter what, my life as a Hyuga is over. I can't ever go back unless I want to become a servant in the branch family. I also know that Kurenai offered me a chance to be with her, but I won't be a burden to anyone ever again. I learned my lesson, and that was that I have to take care of myself in this world. I decided to stay with you because the fact you went out of your way to help me when no one else would. I suffered not only at the hands of Sasuke but from the Hyuga clan. You freed me and in the process freed my sister. You have shown me nothing but kindness besides the actual deed that caused me to be kicked out. You have showed me you care for me, and I have decided I will help you as I help myself." Naruto smiled and saw everyone looking at Hinata, and he said, "I know that for you and Anko, Kurenai, that is shocking to learn, and I ask that you both don't tell anyone about the truth why Hinata was removed from the Hyuga clan. If you both hadn't have become so attached to her, I would not have let you been here, but since this was her future, I decided that you should know why today is so important. Do you have anything you wish to say, Hiashi-san?" Hiashi looked at Hinata and said, "Just that I am proud of you and I am sorry for what I did, but I have my duties to the Hyuga clan." Hinata narrowed her eyes and said, "I see. Well, today has been very tiring for me and I have a busy day of training tomorrow. I am sorry, but I must get some rest. Thank you all for coming today, and may the force be with you." As she turned, and Naruto saw the look on her face and frowned inside, and he saw everyone looked uncomfortable, and he said, "I wish to thank you all for coming, and like Hinata said, we have a long day tomorrow." Hiashi nods and said, "Come, Hanabi, We shall retire for the evening. As he turned and grabbed her hand as they left. As he was leaving, Anko asked, "What are you playing at Gaki?" Naruto said. "I just want to see Hinata happy." "Is that so hard to believe?" Anko glared at him, and Kurinai said, "You have better take care of her, and if I ever hear of you hurting her I will kill you," Naruto said. "I won't, but I hope you will still come see her. I know she's grown to look at you like a second mother." Kurinai closes her eyes and said, "I will." As she wanted to bite his head off but knew she couldn't right now, and she grabbed Anko's arm and they left. Naruto waited until they were gone, and he locked the gate and went back into the temple and went to find Hinata. He found her inside the flower garden and he walked up to her and wrapped his arms around her, and she flinched, and Naruto said, "Go ahead and let it go, Hinata. It's just you and me, and we don't hide things from each other." Hinata began to cry and wail as she turned into his hold and put her head on his chest as she cried. Naruto sat there rubbing her back, and about 10 minutes later when she began to hiccup from crying he asked, "Do you want to talk about it?" Hinata looked up at him and saw kindness in his eyes, and she whipped the tears from her eyes and said, "I hate my father. He cares more about the clan than he does me. He actually had me believe he cared, but I could tell if it came to me or the clan I would always lose to him. I hate him." Naruto rubbed her back and said, "Hinata, do you love me?" Hinata blinked and asked. "What?" Naruto asked. "Do you love me?" Hinata looked down a moment, and she said, "Yes." Naruto put his finger under her chin where they were looking at each other, and he said, "I also love you. I know that I have said that I will make it where none of the women I have mother my children would be different, but you are special to me. I don't know how, but you have taken my heart. I have so many secrets I have to keep, and yet I want to tell them all to you. No matter what, Hinata, I can honestly say that any other woman that I have in my future, no matter what I say, will be nothing but the mother of my children. To me you will be more. If I could have one that would be my wife, it would be you. That is, if you would have me." Hinata was shocked and asked, "What are you asking me?" Naruto said. "To the rest of the world you will be no different than the other woman I will choose to be the mother of my children, and though I will have sex with them and will tell them I care for them, you will be the only one I will truly love with my heart. Behind closed doors, when it's just you and me, I will hold nothing back, and you will know everything, and you will hide nothing from me. What I am asking is if you will share my secrets and keep them from everyone and aid me in life. Help me when there are things I can't do alone, and stand by my side no matter what I must do." Hinata looked into his eyes and said, "Yes, Naruto-kun. I will." Naruto nods and said, "You remember how I told you about my mother coming here?" Hinata nodded, and Naruto said, "Shortly after you came here to live with me, a man bumped into me and called me a youngling. I was shocked, and then I realized he had stolen my lightsabers, and I chased after him. When I found him, I learned he is a Jedi who, along with some others, came here looking for my mother. They will be coming here soon because Mom had me tell him to bring the leaders with him of the group, and we would explain everything. They don't know it, but when Mom found the enemy that she was wanting to protect the Republic, for she had delayed their plans by doing the same thing that was done at Malachar 5, and that was trap the enemy's ships in the gravity of the planet and have them crash into the planet. She destroyed, she thinks, around 400 ships by doing that, but when she escaped she was on her way to the Republic to warn them. An enemy ship followed her through hyperspace, which is like a shushin for ships, and when they arrived here where she would have to change course to make the next jump to hyperspace, the ship attacked hers, which caused her to crash so they would know that she could not alert the Republic. It then left back to where the others were to help recover. It takes a month in hyperspace to get from their planet to this one, and another month to get from this planet to the farthest planet in the Republic." Hinata was absorbing all of this, and Naruto said, "Mom had suspected something because of how long it would take to get from one place to another, and then after I was born and the QB was sealed inside of me, she made a comment to the fox, and she learned that her fear was true." Hinata saw Naruto was silent and asked, "What was her fear? What is it?" Naruto said, "During wars, an enemy will sometimes make a checkpoint where they can get supplies and regroup. Mom found out that QB and the other tailed demons had a second mission besides stopping the natural disasters on this planet. They were also to protect the planet population that the enemy that Mom calls the Ancients brought here as slaves from other people gaining control of this planet, and when the Ancients returned they were to help them quickly cripple any armies here by attacking the villages so they could be quickly turned into slaves so they could make this planet a checkpoint. Mom found out that there is a factory buried underground on an island here that would allow them to make any parts for their ships and armor for weapons. It's like the Star Forge I told you about, but smaller. The Ancients are going to come here and take over this planet, turning us all into slaves and breeding stock. Once she found this out and found out Kyubi was going to try and influence me to where I can be used by the ancients, mom killed him. I now have all his power but that I am absorbing over time, but the fox itself is dead. Hinata was shocked and said, "But what can we do?" In a scared voice, Naruto said, "Mom and I planned for me to use the force and other things and manipulate the people of this world like she did as the Lord of the Sith and become the ruler of this world. I then planned to use the factory and build weapons and other things to allow us to defend this world. If we can stop the ancients here, even if it costs us all our lives, then the hundreds of billions in the Republic will be safe. The ancients need this world or all their plans are ruined. Mom's told me a few ideas she had to stop them, like shields for the planet and other things, and if I can do it quickly I can hopefully save the people here, but the problem is I am going to have to use people, kill people, trick people, and be cruel to some people so I can make my empire. I know that a lot will die and some people are going to hate me for what I have to do, but if my plan works then a lot more will live. To some I will be a monster, a murderer, but I can live with that choice if I can save everyone," Hinata asked. "Why don't you tell people?" Naruto said. "Think about it, Hinata. Did you believe me when I told you my mom was not from this planet? People already fear me because of Kyubi. If I tell them the truth they will think I am crazy and either try and kill me or lock me away, and by the time they learn the truth it will be too late." Hinata looked down and asked, "Then why do you plan for our children? If they are born then they will be slaves if we fail or killed." "I don't understand," Naruto said. "Mom hurt them when she faced them. She set them back by years. I don't know when they will come. It may not even be in my life, and the more time I have to set things up the less people will die. Mom had me draw blueprints up for a lot of things and has been teaching me about machines and droids and other things. If I can get my empire set up and then get the things she had me make plans for, then if we can get them built and running before they arrive, then they might not even be able to get to the planet. If that happens then our children would all be safe. Mom, and I hope that if we can get the ones who came here to find her to help us, we might be able to do it quicker with less loss of life. If the ancients don't get this world, then the Republic will have more and more time to get ready and possible set up some kind of trap to stop them. The problem is we don't know how far back Mom set their plans, so they can be here any time from now to 1,000 years from now. From what Mom told me and what we know about Kyubi, the guys in charge can't die of old age." Hinata thought about it and said, "So you're willing to sacrifice some to save all, just like your mother," Naruto said. "Yeah, that's why I took a Sith name and have started to call myself Darth Rasen. I have already started preparing. I gave Kakashi a gift that was a pair of sunglasses that were actually made of the material that the visors for the armored helmets I plan to use to test and see if bloodlines can still work with them, and so far they appear to work right," Hinata asked. "Then why didn't you have me try?" "I mean, I do have a bloodline," Naruto said. "I didn't want to use you. Even thought you might think I did with the armor you wear. It's not. That is something specific for my family I want. The armor I plan to use later is totally different," Hinata asked. "This factory you plan to use, do you know where it is?" Naruto said. "Yeah, each of the Bijou know where it is since they have to guard it. Mom forced Kyubi to tell her before she killed him. It will be a little hard to get to for me, and for someone who does not know how to use the force it will be impossible." Hinata looked at him and asked, "Do you plan to use me?" Naruto said. "No. I don't plan to use you. If I did I would never have told you what I have. I just want someone to know. Hopefully understand me." As he closed his eyes, Hinata looked at him and asked, "Is that why you have nightmares?" Naruto looked at her and finally said, "No, from the day I was born until I was 4 years old I was treated like I was a demon in human form. People would beat me, starve me, try to kill me. From my memories Mom counted I was in the hospital over 800 times. The people who were supposed to take care of me would wait until the Hokage left and either let other hurt me or they did it themselves. Most of the council either wanted me dead or turned into a human weapon. Then when Mom finally was able to return to me, I came here before this temple was built, and the Sandiame tried everything he could to get me out so he could deny who I really was. I lived basically alone, always training and working here to build this place, and then when I finally had to go ask for food and supplies when I was almost out, the Sandiame had tried to arrest me with ANBU. Luckily I had already trained in my mind and body learning to use the force, and I was able to beat them. Then I nearly had to fight the Hokage himself, but we came to a small agreement after I threatened to take my father's jutsu and go to another village. After that day I did not step outside the gates here for several years. The Sandaime or Kakashi would come by a week before my birthday to get a list of what I needed for the year, and then on my birthday they would bring my supplies and storage scrolls to me. Even then he denied who I was until he let it slip after the Uchiha massacre. As he laid back onto the ground, Hinata looked at him and said, "So that's why you have nightmares?" Naruto nods and Hinata said, "I think I understand you know Darth Rasen, but to me you will always be Naruto-kun no matter what you do. I will be by your side." Naruto smiled as he sat up and asked, "Do you mean it?" Hinata nods and he leans forward and said, "I love you, Lady Hinata," Hinata said. "And I you, my lord." As she pressed her lips into his and they shared a true kiss. After several moments they pulled back and Naruto said, "Come." As he stood up as he offered her his hand, Hinata stood up and then Naruto held her hand as they made their way back to the temple. When they got back, Naruto walked her to where the hall divided to go to each of their rooms and he said, "Good night, my lady." As he kissed her again and turned to leave and Hinata held onto his hand and he stopped when she wouldn't let go, and he was about to say something when she said, "I told you I will be by your side. I know we are too young to do anything, which I am glad because I am not ready for that, but I also know I will have to share you soon so you can have your family you want to rule our empire. I want to have you alone from myself for now just to be by you." Naruto was shocked and he asked, "Are you sure I mean?" Hinata said, "Yes. I am sure. Let me get my night cloths and I will join you." Naruto nods and he watched her leave toward her room to get ready for bed and he thought, "Mom, what's going on?" Kushina smiled and said, "She loves you, son. Don't worry about it. It happens. Enjoy." Naruto nods and Kushina sighed and thought, "Be there for him, Hinata. I fear dark times are coming and only he will be able to do what is necessary." Naruto walks into his room and get his night shirt and a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and when he walked out he found Hinata was already there in his bed, and he walked over and saw she had a pair of night pants and a long shirt. He crawled into bed and laid down, and Hinata laid down on his shoulder and said, "Good night." As she closed her eyes and fell asleep shortly after, Naruto, who was still shocked, closed his eyes listening to her breathing and soon fell asleep. The next morning when Naruto awoke he stretched and found he was alone, and he got out of bed and thought, "Man, that was a great night's sleep." As he got ready for the day he found Hinata already doing her morning exercises and he smiled and said, "How are you today, Hinata?" Hinata said, "Fine, master." Naruto sighed and thought, "I can't wait until she finishes training," and said, "We have school today, so are you ready?" Hinata nods and after a few minutes of gathering last-minute items they left. On the way to the academy Hinata asked, "So what's your plan, Naruto-kun?" Naruto frowned and said, "For now I don't know. I need to wait until I see what the people who came from Mom do to decide." Hinata nods and they got to the academy and Naruto said, "After school today I want to begin teaching you how to use your lightsaber effectively." The day at the academy was as usual, lectures, tests, lectures and then some physical activity like sparring, kunai and shuriken throwing, and laps. When they got home that evening they started lightsaber practice. The next week went by like this and Naruto sighed as he got out of bed and he blinked and he found Hinata still in bed with him and he thought, "Wait, if she's here then who's in the main hall?" As he got up and got dressed and woke Hinata up and said, "Someone's here, go get dressed and meet me in the main hall." Hinata nods and she quickly left to get dressed for the day. Naruto dressed in his black cloak and he walked into the main hall and he looked around and asked, "How did you get in here, Ramsay, and where are the others?" Ramsay said, "They've been called back to the Republic. Things are heating up, so they left me the Ebon Hawk and went back with the Mandalorians to deal with some remnants of the Sith that have been attacking some of the outlying worlds." Naruto sighed and said, "Great. We need the others here. Do they know where this planet is and how soon can they get back?" Hinata walked in and Ramsay looked at her and raised an eyebrow and Naruto said, "This is Hinata, my apprentice." Ramsay frowned and said, "I see. Yes, the others know where this planet is and they are going to wait on me and Revan." "Where is Revan?" Naruto sighed and he heard his mother and said, "If you wish to speak with her you need to put me in for sleep." Ramsay was confused and Hinata said, "It's true. She can only appear when he's asleep." Ramsay sighed and said, "Fine, but this better work." Naruto sat down in a meditation stance and Ramsay placed his hand on Naruto's head and Naruto soon passed out and Ramsay stepped back and the form of Revan slowly appeared and Ramsay said, "Revan, is that you?" Revan said, "Yes. I can't talk long so I have to be quick. I can't leave here. My son needs me here and we need help." Ramsay asked, What happened to you? Revan said. I was dying due to childbirth, and because my husband was about to do something that would have put our son's life at risk, I used an ancient technique I learned while looking for the Starforge to bound myself through the Force to my son, Ramsay frowned and said. In other words, you're consuming his life force to stay alive. I fought a Sith Lord who did the same thing. It's a technique born of the dark side of the Force, Revan. Why would you use such a technique on your own son? Revan said. Don't go preaching to me about the dark side of the Force. I know the truth about the Force, Ramsay. There is no light side or dark side but the Force itself. It's what we do with it that defines which we are aligned to, Ramsay said. All this time we were searching for you because we never felt you die in the Force, only to find out that you did die and now you're killing your son, Revan said. No, I am not. There are things you don't understand. There is dangers coming to the Republic that will cost the Republic to fall. This world needs our help or it will cost us all, Ramsay frowned and then said. Revan, I don't know what you believe, but I can see how your influence is twisting your son as well as killing him. You're no better than your former master and Sith Lord Krya. I won't allow you to continue to manipulate him, creating more death and violence, Revan. Revan got a scared look on her face and said, You can't, my son needs me. There are things you don't understand. Please listen to me, Ramsay said. I am tired of listening to fallen Jedi and Sith Lords. I don't know how you can think that you're doing the right thing, but you're wrong. I am sorry, Revan, but it's time for you to pass on. As he walked toward Naruto, Revan went and sent a force push toward Ramsay, who used one of his own, and as he started getting closer and closer to Naruto, Revan's body began to disappear, and she looked at Hinata and said, Protect my son, please. As she disappeared, Hinata acted quickly and activated her lightsaber and got in front of Naruto's body and said, I won't let you get near him, Ramsay said. Don't make me fight you, little girl. You can't beat me. I am going to break her connection to him and save his life, Hinata said. No, you're not. I won't let you. As she took a swing at him and he sent her flying into the wall with a force push. Hinata groaned and Naruto's eyes flashed open and sent a force push toward Ramsay, sending him flying back. Naruto jumped to his feet and activated his lightsaber and said, You're not getting near my mother. Ramsay got up and activated his lightsaber and said, She's using you, boy, Naruto said. No, she's saving me, Ramsay said. You can't defeat me, boy. I have more experience fighting, better fighter than you can imagine. Surrender and I won't hurt you or the girl, but I am going to stop Revan. She's become an abomination in the Force, Naruto said. Takes one to know one, Ramsay said. I see she's twisted your mind. You have fallen to the dark side of the Force. Naruto, who had put himself between Ramsay and Hinata, who was standing ready to fight, said, There is no dark side or light. There is only one Force, Ramsay said. She's corrupted your mind, boy. Don't make me kill you, Naruto said. You can't. I am more powerful than you can imagine, Ramsay said. Spoken like a true Sith Lord, Naruto shook his head and said, Why does my mother wish to protect such ignorant fools? You wish to fight me when the true threat is coming to take us all, Ramsay said. Have you seen this threat, or has your mother only told you about it? How do you know she's not lying to you? She's become corrupted by the dark side and she's corrupting you. There is no threat, Naruto said. I have proof there is. It's you who are fooling yourself. The ancients are coming and will destroy us all. We don't need to fight, but I won't let you take the only family I have left. I won't suffer again because of ignorant fools, Hinata, who was behind Naruto, said. We won't let you. You're not going to take her away. Ramsay looked at her and then at Naruto and sighed and said, I see, there's no chance that I can redeem you, then I must eliminate you before you have a chance to cause pain and suffering. Prepare yourself. As he took a stance, Naruto thought. Mom, are you okay? Kushina's voice came weak and said, Yes, son, I used most of my connection to the Force to speak with him. Focus or you will die. I can't help you in him. As her voice faded away from his mind, Naruto thought. Mom. Naruto's fear for his mother began clouding his mind and he said, You bastard. She tried to warn you about the danger coming and you tried to kill her. I won't tolerate that. I will destroy you. You think you can defeat me because I am young, then you are a fool. If you refuse to even hear the truth, then I will save the people of this world from the ancients and you as well. I will bring peace and prosperity to this world, and as for the Republic, you can go fuck yourselves. If I have to, I will embrace the darkness of the Force. You fear what I might be. You should be more afraid of what I am. As red chakra began to surround him, as his eyes changed to red with gold slits, Ramsay could feel the evil radiating off of Naruto, and Naruto said, "Hinata, stay back. He's too good for you." Hinata nods and Naruto then quickly created 10 Kage Bunshin and each held a lightsaber, and Ramsay was wide-eyed and Naruto started to circle Ramsay with his clones, and then as one they began to attack him each with 2 lightsabers. Ramsay ducked one strike and sent a force push to one, and it went up in smoke, and he back-flipped over another and sliced the clone through the back as it went up in smoke as he blocked 2 strikes with his lightsaber, and jumped doing a split hitting both, and they went up in smoke, and then he was sent flying out of the doors of the temple by a force push from Naruto. Naruto and his clones began to chase him outside, and as they battled their speed increased, and as they reached the gates Ramsay used the force to blow the gates open. Across the village a few minutes earlier people began to get scared as they felt the QB chakra. The Hokage bolted to his feet and screamed, "A and BU." 2 squads appeared and he said, "Follow me quickly to that chakra." As they all left in a Shushin, Kakashi was eating breakfast with Asuma, Kurinai guy, and Anko when they felt the chakra and he said, "Shit, that's Naruto." And all of them quickly headed toward the QB chakra. As people began to arrive they saw Naruto using 2 lightsabers surrounded by red chakra fighting a man with a single lightsaber, and Naruto said, "I won't allow you to harm her. You will have to kill me first," Ramsay said. "I intend to, and if I have to your apprentice as well. I won't allow her to continue to live." Naruto sent a kick to Ramsay's stomach and then used force push to throw him into a wall before he threw one of his lightsabers into the air and raised his hand as lightning shot out of his hand. Ramsay blocked the lightning with his lightsaber and the Hokage said, "Everyone get back." Naruto seeing force lightnings not working threw his second lightsaber into the air as he continued with one arm using lightning and used his other to take off his cloak and then changed hands sending another bolt of lightning and shed his other side of his cloak and he said, "You have threatened not only my life but also the life of both women I love, my mother and Hinata. I will destroy you. Prepare to die." As both his lightsabers that were floating in the air got in front of Naruto began spinning to block. Ramsay saw this and thought, "Shit, he's just as strong as Cray." But what happened next shocked him to the core. Naruto reached both his thumbs to his mouth and bit them, and then whipped them down both his sleeveless arms. Everyone was watching this and Ramsay, who had started to move to attack Naruto while he was mostly defenseless, was not prepared when seals appeared running down both arms and suddenly 10 lightsabers handles appeared out of his arm and floated in the air as they began to circle Ramsay, who had now gotten away from the wall. Naruto closed his eyes and said, "You should feel honored. This is my own original attack I created in honor of my mother and father. No one has ever seen this before, but you will not survive. I won't allow you to harm anyone I vow to protect. Not my family, not my friends, not my village, and not my world. Your life ends here. May the force be with you. Goodbye." Naruto then, to the shock of everyone, disappeared in a yellow flash, and then a lightsaber behind Ramsay activated, and a blue blur was seen heading across from where it had activated, but Ramsay dodged to the left of the first strike. Then a second lightsaber activated and a purple blur shot through and Ramsay dodged just barely. Next a yellow lightsaber, and then a blue lightsaber. No one could see Naruto, but they saw the brief yellow flash as the lightsaber activated and before it disappeared. As each blade activated, the one that had activated before fell to the ground shut off, and to everyone's shock Ramsay avoided all 10 slashes just barely, and Naruto original lightsabers that had floated high into the air now began to deckend as Naruto appeared where they were holding each blade as he fell from above. Ramsay, who was panting heavy by the attack, had moved his blade to block the 2 lightsabers at the last moment, but only blocked one. He screamed as his left arm was cut clean off at the shoulder, and used a force push to launch Naruto away as he force leaped back and then ran away as fast as he could. Naruto, who was sweating and had patches where blood was coming out of his skin, fell to his knees as he began to cough up blood, and he deactivated his blades as he fell to the ground. Hinata was there in moments and caught him as he fell, and she held him close. The third said, "I want all these weapons confiscated and brought to me. Kakashi, I want you in charge of that. Do not let any of them vanish." Kakashi nods as he began to gather them and saw that there were seals he recognized as Horatian seals on all but Naruto main too, and he thought, "You have surpassed your father Naruto. I don't know how that man survived, but even I don't think I could survive it." 3 days later, Naruto slowly opened his eyes and found himself in a white room, and he knew immediately that he was not home. He felt a weight on his hand and saw Hinata asleep in a chair beside his bed with her head on his hand, and then he smiled and winced as he tried to move and found that his body had taken a lot of damage somehow. He entered his mind and saw his mother, who was partially faded, was in a forced sleep trying to recover herself, and he thought, "I will not lose you, mother. I will destroy any who try to take you away from me." He walked over and kissed her head as he then left his mind, and when he blinked he saw Hinata looking at him, and he smiled and asked, "Are you okay?" Hinata smiled and dove onto his lips with hers, and they continued like this for several moments until a cough drew their attention and both broke apart, and they saw the Sandaime standing there along with a white-haired man, and the third asked, "How do you feel, Naruto?" Naruto tried to sit up but winced and said, "I hurt. It feels like when I was 4. The third frowned and said, "It's not surprising. Using the Kyuubi chakra and whatever else you were doing in that battle took a heavy toll on your body. If it was not for your healing ability, then you most likely would be in the hospital for months." Naruto glanced at the white-haired man, and the third said, "Sorry, Naruto, this is Jiraiya of the Sannin, your godfather," Naruto said. "I see," the third said. "What was that you were doing in that battle, Naruto?" Naruto frowned and closed his eyes in thought and said, "Force rage. I lost my head in battle and started drawing too heavy on it, and Kyuubi chakra didn't help either," the third asked. "Why were you using Kyuubi chakra like that, Naruto?" Naruto sighed and said, "That man wanted to kill my mother and me. I had to defend us," Jiraiya said. "How do you know how to use the fox chakra?" Naruto said. "Mom trained me, and during my training I met the fox, and after he insulted me and threatened everyone I care for, I destroyed his mind. After that it changed my color and I was forced to learn how to use it since Kyuubi's not there to control it any longer," the third asked. "Why didn't you tell us?" Naruto said. "Why should I? I mean, I have to basically live in total isolation just so I won't be attacked. If people are going to hate me for even being alive, why the hell should I give them a reason to kill me?" The third sighed and asked, "Where is Kushina? I had Kurinai go with Hinata back to your temple and they couldn't find her." Naruto glanced at Hinata and she said, "Your mother must have left to recover after her attack, Naruto." "I don't know where she went," Naruto sighed and said. "I don't know then. She comes and goes so much I wouldn't be surprised if she went after him, or if she found some place to hide and heal." The third frowned and asked, "Why was he after her and you in the first place, and who was he?" Naruto said, "The abilities I was using during our fight are called the Force. I won't tell you much about it, but it allows you to draw on the spiritual energy that are around you, and if you learn to control it you can do a lot of things." Jiraiya frowned at this and asked, "That still doesn't explain why he was after you and who he was." Naruto sighed and said, "My mother was trained in the use of the Force from early childhood. Those who are trained in the Force are usually called either Jedi or Sith. The Jedi try and live a life holy men is the best way to describe them, and the Sith are like cult followers. They believe the Force is divided into light and dark sides, but the Force is actually a neutral. The Jedi and Sith have a small war going with each other, believing they are the ones who are right, but since there are so few of them you rarely see or hear of them. My mother somehow learned of both ways, and she chose to believe that the Force is either light or dark but a neutral. She trained me to believe so as well. That man who came here was a Jedi. He wanted my mother to return to his order, and when she refused he tried to kill her. She's been severely weakened because of nearly dying giving birth to me, so she could not fight him very well. When he went to kill her, Hinata first stopped him until I was free to fight, and then I had Hinata fall back because she nowhere near ready to fight someone like him. When he threatened Mom and her, I started drawing on Kyuubi chakra since I can use the Force nearly as well as my mother. When she was in her prime, my body is not strong enough to face him. I used Kyuubi to try and give me a boost. Luckily for me, he did not expect the boost it gave me. I forced him out of there, and then the rest is history." Jiraiya asked, "What about that final jutsu you used? How did it come about?" Naruto frowned and said, That. It's something I am still working on. I can control 12 lightsabers, although it is mostly limited since I can only hold them in the air at one time for a few minutes, but I can't really move when I do it since it takes so much concentration. I have to have the Hiraishin seal on them do all the work while I drag the lightsaber with me. Each time I appear I have to drop the one I am holding and grab the next one because I don't know where exactly I will appear around the lightsaber, so I only have about a second to grab and activate the blade as I pass to the next seal. I placed it on each of my lightsabers I carry with me, but it's still not perfect. He was able to use the Force to predict my line of attack and move out of the way each time. I was lucky he only had one lightsaber himself, or I would have died at the end of that attack. As he looked down, Jiraiya said, "It's still impressive. I heard rumors about it already in the next village over. They call it the Dance of Lights," Naruto said. "I will name it once I finish it. I wanted to make an attack like Dad's that would be impossible to defeat," Jiraiya said. "Still, you must be pretty good with seals," Naruto said. "Actually, no. I do a lot with storage seal, but all the other seals I just copied from Dad's scrolls. If I knew anything about seals, I would fix Hinata." Everyone, including Hinata, was confused about that, and Jiraiya asked, "What do you mean?" Naruto said. "Her father and I, when we checked to make sure that guy we found in her hospital room did not do anything to her, found she had a restriction seal on her back. We think it was from the Kumo-nin who tried to kidnap her," Hinata asked. "Why did you not tell me, Naruto?" Naruto said. "I forgot. Mom and Kakashi told me the only person they knew who might be able to remove it is Jiraiya." Jiraiya sighed and said, "Let me see the seal, girl." Hinata looked at Naruto a moment, and she turned around and raised her shirt back, and Jiraiya asked, "Where is his?" Naruto said. "Over her heart in the back." Jiraiya frowned and sent a little chakra to the area, and he looked at it, and whistled a moment, and said, "Interesting." Hinata looked over her shoulder and asked, "What?" Jiraiya said. "It's a memory restrictor. A very good one. Someone took a lot of time on this, so I doubt it was the Kumo-nin. This would have taken about a day to make. Someone put it on you to keep you from remembering something." Naruto blinked, and Hinata asked, "Why?" Jiraiya said. "I don't know. Let me undo it and we will find out." As he bit his thumb and started to draw around the seal, and after a few minutes he said, "This will hurt a little." As he activated the seal, Hinata gasped in pain a moment, and her eyes closed, and she fluttered her eyes. She was disoriented a few minutes, and she ran to the bathroom and threw up. Naruto frowned, and the third walked toward the bathroom door and asked Hinata, who had closed the door when she went in, "Are you alright?" A few moments later the door opened, and she came out a little pale and said, "I saw a Hyuga family secret. I don't want to talk about it." In a weak voice, the third frowned and nodded, and Naruto saw the look in Hinata's eyes and said, "Please don't tell anyone about that. I think if someone put the time to put it on Hinata, then they would not be happy with it being removed. Please." The third sighed and said, "Very well. Now who exactly was that man?" Naruto said. "He called himself Ramsay. I had met him once before a few months back. He was the man I chased into the woods that day Umbu was sent after me. At that time he had picked my pocket to get my attention. When I caught him, he asked me to deliver a message to my mother that he would like to request a meeting about her former home. I didn't really understand what the request was about, but then he showed up there the day we were attacked." "How long was I out anyways?" Hinata said. 3 days. Naruto frowned and asked. "Where's my lightsabers?" The third said. "I have them." Naruto held up his hand and said, "Please return them," the third said. "Not until you tell me about them," Naruto said. "Fine. When people start dying from the explosion, don't say I didn't warn you." As he lowered his hand, the third asked, "What explosion?" Naruto said. "Each of my lightsabers have a second seal inside of them that I copied from my father's notes. I say that each lightsaber has the explosive ability of 10 exploding tags to ensure no one learns the secret of the Hiraishin and the lightsabers," the third said. "You're bluffing," Naruto said. "Hinata, you have yours." As he looked at her, Hinata said, "Yes," Naruto said. "Let me see it a moment." Hinata walked over and pulled hers out and handed it to him, and he put it under the cover and closed his eyes a moment as he held the cover over it, and everyone could hear clicks and pops under the cover, and Naruto slowly pulled out a small circle disc, and he said, "Here you go, Seal Master." As he handed it to Jiraiya, Jiraiya looked at it and frowned, and he said, "He's telling the truth, Sensei. This is one of his father's seals, I know. Only thing I don't know is how it's actually activated, but if it is, then this would blow up and kill anyone close by." As he handed it back to Naruto, Naruto repeated what he did earlier, and he held the blade above his head and activated it, and both blades shot out, and he deactivated it, and said, "Thank you, Hinata, and sorry about that, but I had to prove to the third here I spoke the truth," the third asked. "But why would they explode?" Naruto said. "Let's just say that the ones that I held in my arm were held there for a reason. If I don't activate them myself in the correct order once a week after they were last used, they will start overloading and blow up, and only I know the order. If after the week, sealed or not, they will blow up." The third looked at him for several minutes and frowned and said, "Fine. You win. As he reached into his pocket and pulled out a scroll, and Naruto unsealed the scroll and saw all of them were there, and he nods and covers them up and said, "After you leave, I will reset them," the third asked. "What exactly are those?" Naruto said. "My future clan's secret weapons. It's originally a weapon of the Sith and Jedi, and they killed to keep it," the third frowned and asked. "How did he get inside of your home?" "I checked with Hinata and she said he let himself in," Naruto sighed and said. "It's my fault. I forgot to reset the security seals after Hinata's birthday the night before, and he was able to get in." He looked at her and said, "I trust our home is locked," Hinata said. "Yes. The gates fixed themselves before I returned after the fight," Naruto sighed and said. "Dad sure was a genius of seals," Jiraiya said. "I want to take you on as my apprentice." Naruto looked at Hinata and said. "Why should I?" Jiraiya said. "Because I taught your father everything he knows and I can use the force as you call it." Everyone looked at Jiraiya and Naruto said, "Really, show me." Jiraiya pulled out a small jar and rubbed the content on his face in a funny pattern, and his hands became partially webbed, and Naruto watched him, and he said, "That's not the force. This is." As he held up his hand and force slammed Jiraiya into the wall. Everyone looked at Jiraiya, who fell out of the crack in the wall, and he wiped the weird paint off his face and he said, "What was that?" Naruto said. "The force. I don't know what you used, but it wants the force, so tell me, why should I become your apprentice?" Jiraiya said. "I can teach you the Rasengan," Naruto said. "I have the scrolls for it already. What else?" Jiraiya frowned and said. "Summoning," Naruto said. "And after that?" "Then what?" Jiraiya said. "Sealing," Naruto said. "And?" Jiraiya blinked and asked. "What do you want from me?" "I have a lot of things I can teach you," Naruto said. "Look, I have plans to make my own clan, teach my children and become a clan head and go from there." "What besides sealing and summoning do you have that could help me with that?" Jiraiya said. "I can teach you the ways of women," Naruto deadpanned and said. "Mom's informed me you're a pervert. If there was another way, I would never have let you near Hinata a few minutes ago. As for learning about sex, people have been doing it for millions of years all over the galaxy. It's in our instincts, so why should I learn from you?" Jiraiya frowned and looked at the third, who sighed and nods, and Jiraiya said, "They're a group of S-rank criminals who have plans to capture each of the Bijus and their Jinchurikis. Even if the Kyuubi is dead, they still will come after you and try to extract its power and kill you in the process," Naruto said, surprising Jiraiya and the third. "Black cloaks with red clouds?" Jiraiya locked his eyes on Naruto and asked. "How do you know that?" Naruto said. "The force allows me to see the possible future at times. It's not set in stone, but I have seen them in the future a few times, but I don't know much about them. I do know 2 of them have the Sharingan," Jiraiya said. "2? Impossible," Naruto said. "No, one looks like an older version of Sasuke, and the other I know his name from a picture I saw in the history of this village," the third asked. "Who is it, Naruto?" Naruto said. "Uchiha Madara." Making both men wide-eyed, the third said. "Impossible, Madara died fighting the Shodaime," Naruto said. "Hey, I am just telling you what I saw. His Sharingan is funky though, even more than the older Sasuke one. It's not like Kakashi, but you can tell it's the Sharingan," Jiraiya asked. "Is there any others you might have seen or know, or anything that could help us learn who they are?" Naruto frowned and said. There's a woman who turns into paper, a guy with these weird rings in his eyes, and a guy who looks like a fish. There's also a plant-looking guy. There's also some puppet guy. Those are the only ones I have seen in my visions that I can remember." Jiraiya had his notebook out, and he said, "Naruto, if you were to see these men, would you be able to identify them?" Naruto nods, and Jiraiya turned his notebook around, showing a drawing, and asked, "Was the guy's eye like that?" Showing the Rinnegan, Naruto nods, and Jiraiya said, "Get me a bingo book please, sensei," the third asked. "Do you believe him, Jiraiya?" Jiraiya said. "Not at first, but I do know a girl several years ago who could control paper as well as a boy with the Rinnegan. It was back during the war in Rain Country, and I trained them for a few months so they could survive. Now can you please get me a bingo book?" The third sighed and had an ANBU go and get one, and he asked, "So what else have you seen, Naruto?" Naruto said. "I don't really know. The future is always changing, and I can't be for sure that what I tell you will happen or not. It's just a possible future. Only reason I even made a connection was I seen a glimpse of a possible death in the future, and I saw those men and what looked like a raccoon being taken from a boy and into a statue," Jiraiya asked. "Any other visions of the future?" Naruto said. Some big-boobed woman castrating you, Jiraiya paled and said. That's enough of the future for me to know. Hinata was sitting quietly in a chair and Naruto kept glancing at her, and he asked, How soon can I get out of here? The third said. Tomorrow. Just then an ANBU appeared with a bingo book and Jiraiya grabbed it and flipped several pages quickly and asked, Is that one of them? Showing Kisame. Naruto nods and he did the same for Itachi, Sasori, and Zetsu. Jiraiya said, Alright, thanks Gaki. This information will help me check some things. As he wrote it down and closed the bingo book, Naruto nods and asked, Is that all you need to know? The third said. For now, Naruto said. Then if you don't mind I would like to rest and leave me and Hinata alone. Both men quietly left deep in thought, and Naruto got out of bed and started to slip on his cloths and Hinata was looking down not paying attention, and he created a Kage Bunshin and handed it one of his lightsabers and it left through the window as he was finishing getting dressed, and he walked over and grabbed her hand. Hinata blinked and looked at him as he helped her out of her chair and he pulled her close, and a few seconds later they were standing inside the temple and he asked, What's wrong? Hinata was confused a moment, and Naruto grabbed his lightsaber that was on the ground and she asked, How did we get here? Naruto said. I used the Harasshin to get us back here. Now tell me what's wrong, Hinata, Hinata said. Nothing. As she looked away, Naruto turned her around with his hand under her chin and he said, Don't lie to me. In a commanding voice, Hinata said, I wish to kill the Hyuga Council and my father. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.